Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ravinder Singh. I'm working as Head of Digital and Systems Team with Cabinet Office Government Commercial Function. So today's my talk is about how you can future-proof your APIs and how you can have the security, privacy, and return on investment. So I will be presenting on this topic, which shows that how you can leverage the benefits as well as secure your APIs. So first thing I will just put as an introduction, new API economy as we call it, 84% of organizations experienced API security incident in the past 1 year. And I have put my references of all wherever I have put quoted any data or any facts. So that's at the end of the slide show, which you will see. So basically, it's no longer just a technical challenge, but like blood of every modern day business, from e-commerce to eating joints to banking uh, to government. Everyone uses APIs. But challenge is that this is also the number one attack vector, and data breaches are like a weekly headline, which you have seen. And our goal today is move beyond this reactive security to holistic strategy. And I am going to present a three-pillar framework to future-proof your APIs. And that's how we can ensure that your APIs you build in this framework are resilient, secure, and profitable APIs. And when the rising cost of insecurity, because when API security fails, consequences are very severe, highly severe, I would say, impacting everything from your business, balance sheets, as well as to brands, reputation. And the financial fallout is substantial, as well as building the brand again, growing that in the data in sensitive industries. As I say, that average cost in US $1 million, you can see that global average and financial industry average is very high. And in 2020, you have seen that the data loss loss vulnerability was exposed in British Airways, which affected 400,000 customers, and it costed. A fine was imposed on British Airways, 20 million. So it's a huge impact on your reputation, financial, customer credibility. You lose everything, the trust you lose. And that's where deconstructing the modern API threat. Attackers are exploiting the core, how the APIs work. That's why you have to be very secure, how your algorithms work, understanding these vulnerabilities. You need to understand those threats, your vulnerabilities, and build a strong defense based on that. And data reveals that many attacks are not breaking down the front door, but they are using a key. So basically, there are authenticated attacks dominate, which means the attacks are attempted by authenticated user, whether they are internal or people who gain access to your system as authenticated user. And that means your authorization requires more secure uh, kind of factors in it, so that people are not able to get into your system as an authenticated user unless the person is authorized. And that's where you need to think from that angle, at how you can have role-based access or authorization-based access, what kind of encryption algorithm you put into that. And there is a data which shows that year-on-year growth of API vulnerabilities in 2024 has been 10%. 40% has been increase in broken access control vulnerabilities, which is huge, which means our access controls are not right and we have to do something about it. So that shows that you need to work on authentication mechanism, authorization mechanisms to build a stronger defense, a firewall where people are not getting unauthorized access. Truly resilient, the three pillar framework, which I said earlier, how it works, neglecting one of them will compromise all of them. It's not that you focus on one, the other you can ignore. So you have to work on security, privacy, as well as ROI, which means security, integrate your security into entire API lifecycle, focus on strong authentication, least privilege authorization, and proactive threat modeling. Privacy build trust through transparent data practices, prioritize data minimization, user consent, and compliance. The ROI turn security investment into business value. That means how a trusted API ecosystem prevents costly breaches, enables new revenue streams, and accelerated innovation. So that's where you need to focus. I will take one by one all of the three pillars to explain them in a bit more detail. So first pillar, security shift left and stay alert, which means threat landscape has increased. As I said, API vulnerabilities has risen by 10% every year, and 40% is by broken access control. And that doesn't mean that if you implement OWASP's API security top 10, but that's not enough. What is shift left? Means to think from that, okay, this is my life cycle of implementation. So you have to shift left, which is design, development, and deployment, which means threat modeling and secure by design from day one. So secure by design is a feature where every person, every developer is implementing secure by design approach. Gov.uk has published that also, secure by design approach. And you can have your own internal company mechanism that how the secure by design approach is from the very first day when the analysis is done, design is done before you build the system. And then automatic code scanning in CI/CD pipeline, whether you use SAST, DAST, or IAST, which means application security testing, whether it's static, dynamic, or or you having the advanced integrated um, application security, which means you need to think beyond the mechanism, centralize API gateways and runtime protection, which should be there as we deploy the things. So that means that is why it's called shift left and stay alert. That is starting from your design of your system while the system is going live. Before that, all the steps should be taken even when you are deploying the system, developing the system. So that will overcome these vulnerabilities, and you have already testing those factors that it is not giving people authorization, unauthorized access to the systems. And that's where this pillar one, which means shift left, if we say, which that is threat design modeling, automated development scanning, and runtime deployment protection. So these are threat, if you have designed and modeled it, scanned it, and then you can deploy it. Key best practices, which we call strong authentication, use any authentication system which you think, which you can rely upon, and again, which will be enough for your organization. You know what kind of business you are in. Then least privilege authorization, granular access control, RBAs, role-based access control or authorization-based access control to limit data exposure. Sanitize and validate every single input to prevent injection attacks, which means you need to think from that angle. Oh, how this is going to work. So that's where we need to be so have these best practices implemented in your teams, train them to use them so that we can be resilient in our strategy roadmap. The gap, the second gap which comes is the full inventory, which is not there. 73% of organization, it's a shocking thing, lack a complete inventory of their APIs, making the first step of any security framework. And that's big shock to everyone that you should have inventory of your APIs, where it is used, how it is used, what is the encryption algorithm, is it a vulnerability. So don't overlook this in having your inventory of your physical assets, but also of the APIs. The second pillar, the privacy, a foundation of trust. As I said earlier, a massive breach with 2020 API vulnerability with British Airways, which I highlighted earlier, they had been issued 20 million pounds of fine. So that means GDPR, CACPA, and other legal, they are not just legal things for you, they must be a market differentiator so that you Just don't tick box that, oh, I am GDPR compliant, I am Data Protection Act compliant, I have done this, I have done DPIA on threat modeling, but implement it. It's that those steps you should do, and it's not just a paper-based exercise, but actually it has to be done. So it is going beyond compliance to build that confidence in your customers, in your users, whosoever your target market is. So core principle for API privacy: data minimization, user access and control, data anonymization, and pseudonymization. Practical implementation: audit your data flow and secure logging. That be careful what you log. So basically means collect data which is only the data which you really need to collect. Users are explicitly removed from the system, and granular control over your data, authorizations, and make the data sensitive data or kind of anonymized data. And that's how you can control your sensitive data, and how that sensitive data is shared outside also, that people don't get access to it. If the data is sensitive, encrypt it, whether it's in transit, whether it's in at rest. Both of them should be encrypted with the good encryption algorithms. Then ROI, from cost center to revenue driver, as we call it, avoiding financial loss, because each cost, average global cost of data breach is around $4.4 million, and but for financial is much higher. So the cost of breach, avoid that financial loss, because if that happens, then you will be in trouble. You will have the challenges. Enabling new business models: APIs themselves can be product secure, well-documented APIs from companies like Alpha Advantage, financial modeling have become their primary revenue stream. So companies have built this into business models. So if you have good mechanism, share it and get revenue from it. And you can have strong security privacy postures, better growth, faster growth, and if features build confidence. But the groundwork, as I said, in your planning, your analysis, design, and build phase will show that yes, you can build this into a revenue model rather than giving you financial losses, reputation losses, or other brand loss, and so on. So that's where we need to be very careful at what we think. And the 5 step holistic approach framework in action, I always try to put that what can you do then? So first is assess, then design, then automate, then manage and monitor. Assess is conduct a comprehensive API inventory risk framework. As I said, 73% of organizations don't know what their inventory is. So you cannot protect what you don't know. So that means you must know that these are my assets, this is my API, this is what I need to protect. Then design, adopt an API first, secure by design mindset. Again, I frame the same point. Use specifications, open API to define your secure environment, secure by design, peer reviews. Build that into your development scenario. Each developer should be given that training. Each person in your development teams, from analysis to build, they should be following those practices. Then automate, leverage AI machine driven tool for threat detection. Any tool which you think is suitable for your organization, depending on cost and technical feasibility. Do behavior analysis through threat detection. Automate it as much as possible. Automate security gates in CI/CD pipeline, and then automate that alert systems based on that. And then use a centralized API gateway, so consistent policy enforcement. If the policy is not enforced in one area, talk to them, enforce it, and then monitor, implement continuous monitoring, proactive threat detection. As I said, AI machine learning, use those tools which have those sensitive analysis nowadays, that which can proactively give you alerts, monitor it without physically being there. Systems can do it for you, and so that they can alert you of any intrusion, any unauthorized access, or vulnerabilities exposed or threats exposed. And conclusion: security is not just an add-on; it is a core principle integrated within very start of the API cycle. Privacy is trust building exercise, not just a compliance checkbox. As I said, it should not be a checkbox that, oh, I am compliant with GDPR, DPIA, this. It's a strategic investment in your brand. See that those policies are implemented and adhered to, everyone follows them. ROI is a natural result of secure and private API program. It protects your business, protects your loss, and open doors for your new innovation and revenue. And that's what I say. You can get future proof your APIs if you follow these three principles: security, privacy, and ROI. And then you can build trusted brand, bring financial gains, and avoid financial losses, and build your reputation, brand, everything, and start make your API program into innovation, into revenue earning streams. And these are some of the references which I have put for your thoughts. And that's with that, I would like to say, please, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I would be happy to answer those questions. Thank you with that.